Imagine for a moment that you were forced to live your life exactly as it is, over and over again for eternity. Every joy, every hardship, every moment of happiness and suffering, repeating without end. The thought is a chilling one, yet Friedrich Nietzsche, one of history's most influential philosophers, proposed just such a scenario. His concept of the eternal recurrence challenges us to reconsider how we live, how we make choices, and what it means to live a meaningful life. At first glance, the idea of an unending cycle of existence seems like a fate too grim to bear, a cosmic punishment, or an existential nightmare. However, Nietzsche presents it not as a curse, but as a profound philosophical tool, one that invites us to confront the deepest questions of our lives, our values, and our desires. It challenges us to ask, what if this was your life forever? How might we live differently if every choice we made, every action we took, would be repeated infinitely? Today, we're going to dive deep into Nietzsche's concept of the eternal recurrence and explore its implications for how we live. By examining this provocative idea, we'll gain insight into how Nietzsche believes we should approach life, meaning, and existence itself. Buckle up as we embark on this philosophical journey together. Welcome to the Unfolding Journey YouTube channel, a space where we explore the depths of human thought, philosophy, and the questions that shape our lives. If you've ever pondered the deeper meaning of existence, or if you've been curious about the complex concepts that underpin the way we live, then you're in the right place. Here, we dive into timeless ideas such as the one we'll explore today and consider how they relate to our everyday experiences and choices. If you enjoy engaging with philosophical questions, exploring new ways of thinking, and challenging your perspectives, then you're going to love what we have in store. We'll keep questioning, keep reflecting, and keep unfolding together. So, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our future explorations. Let's dive in. Nietzsche first introduces the concept of eternal recurrence in his work, The Gay Science, 1882, though it is further developed in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, 1883-85. The idea is simple, yet staggeringly profound. What if your life, every moment of it, every joy and sorrow, every success and failure, were to repeat over and over again, infinitely, with no variation? Nietzsche invites us to imagine a universe in which time is cyclical rather than linear. A universe in which every event that has happened, is happening, or will happen, occurs again and again, forever. This concept challenges the way we typically view existence. In a linear perspective of time, life moves from birth to death, with a beginning, a middle, and an end. However, the notion of eternal recurrence upends this traditional narrative. If the same events are destined to repeat themselves, how does that change the way we experience them now? How does it influence our choices, our actions, and our view of life? To fully grasp the implications of Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, it's essential to understand that it is not just a metaphysical theory. Nietzsche does not present the eternal recurrence as something to be taken literally or as a purely intellectual puzzle to be solved. Rather, he proposes it as a thought experiment, a tool to help us examine our lives in a new light. In the context of Nietzsche's broader philosophy, eternal recurrence serves as a test of the way we live. It challenges us to ask, would we be able to live our lives in such a way that we could affirm them eternally, even if we knew that every pain and every pleasure would repeat over and over again? Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, in this sense, becomes a mirror reflecting the authenticity of our existence and the depth of our engagement with life. The test of affirmation. Can you love your life? One of the central themes in Nietzsche's philosophy is the idea of Amor Fati, or the love of fate. This concept encourages us to embrace life in its entirety, including its suffering and hardships. In the face of eternal recurrence, the question becomes, can we truly love our life, every moment of it, even the painful, difficult, and seemingly insignificant moments? Nietzsche challenges us to live in such a way that we can affirm our lives, regardless of how they unfold. The idea of eternal recurrence forces us to confront the question, would we live differently if we knew every moment would be repeated forever? The way we answer this question reveals whether we live in accordance with our deepest values or merely follow the paths set by others or by society. The eternal recurrence thus asks us to assess our own existence with a brutally honest lens. If we could choose to live our lives over again, would we choose the same path, or would we make different choices? The challenge here is not just to avoid regrets, but to ask whether we can embrace every aspect of our existence, good and bad, without hesitation. Nietzsche invites us to answer this question by striving to live with such intensity and purpose that every moment becomes worthy of eternal repetition. Confronting meaning in a finite world. In the face of eternal recurrence, the question of meaning becomes central. If our lives are destined to repeat infinitely, does that make our actions and decisions meaningless? Nietzsche, however, argues the opposite. It is precisely because life may have no ultimate purpose or cosmic meaning that we must create our own meaning. The concept of eternal recurrence underscores the importance of personal agency and self-determination in the construction of meaning. Without a grand, external purpose, Nietzsche encourages us to create value from within. He contends that meaning is something we must forge through our actions, relationships, and passions. The eternal recurrence is, in this sense, a call to live authentically, to become who we truly are, and to invest fully in the life we have. In a universe without inherent meaning, it is up to us to create significance, and we must do so in a way that we would willingly repeat forever. Facing the horror of repetition. For many, the idea of eternal recurrence may seem like an existential burden rather than a philosophical boon. The very thought of living the same life repeatedly, without any escape or change, can be overwhelming. This is where Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, the overman or Superman, comes into play. The Übermensch represents the ideal individual who transcends conventional limitations and fully embraces life, even in its most difficult and painful aspects. In the face of eternal recurrence, the Übermensch affirms life, takes responsibility for their actions, and creates their own values. This individual is not weighed down by fear or despair, but rather approaches existence with a spirit of vitality, creativity, and courage. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, then, is not about suffering endlessly. It is about embracing the full spectrum of human experience and living with the awareness that life is finite, yet potentially infinite in its repetition. The Übermensch teaches us to live in such a way that we are not merely surviving but thriving, embracing every moment with vigor and joy, So, what does the idea of eternal recurrence mean for our personal choices and understanding of existence? Nietzsche's challenge is not just philosophical in nature, but deeply practical. He asks us to consider our choices with a heightened sense of awareness. Every decision we make should be one that we would be willing to repeat eternally. This concept forces us to rethink our habits, our relationships, and our work. Do we engage in relationships that bring us joy and fulfillment? Do we pursue careers or passions that reflect our true values? Are we living lives based on the expectations of others, or are we forging our own paths? The eternal recurrence invites us to assess whether we are living in alignment with who we truly are and what we truly want. Ultimately, Nietzsche encourages us to live fully, to be bold in our choices, and to embrace every moment of our existence as an opportunity to affirm life in its entirety. By reflecting on the eternal recurrence, we can reframe our understanding of existence, not as a brief, fleeting experience, but as a series of infinite opportunities to live authentically and passionately. Nietzsche's concept of the eternal recurrence is a thought-provoking challenge to the way we view our lives and our existence. It forces us to ask ourselves, are we living in a way that we would be willing to repeat for all eternity? By embracing the eternal recurrence, we are asked to live authentically, embrace our fate, and create meaning in a world that may have none. As we reflect on this idea, it becomes clear that Nietzsche is not simply concerned with metaphysical speculation, but with the way we live our everyday lives. The eternal recurrence is a call to live fully, to live intentionally, and to embrace every moment as part of a greater, infinite tapestry. If you found this exploration of Nietzsche's eternal recurrence thought-provoking, then I invite you to join us on the unfolding journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more philosophical insights, discussions, and explorations into the ideas that shape the way we live. Thank you for watching, and remember, live a life worth repeating.